Nestled between towering mountains and surrounded by lush greenery, the valley was a haven unlike any other. It was a world unto itself, a place where rivers ran clear, fields stretched endlessly, and the air carried the scent of blooming flowers. The people who lived there thrived, growing crops that fed their families and trading goods that made them prosperous. Every corner of the valley held life. Children laughed as they played near the rivers, artisans crafted exquisite pottery, and elders told stories of the valley's origins beneath the starry sky. The valley wasn't just their home, it was their sanctuary. The mountains acted as natural guardians, shielding the valley from harsh winds and intruders. Its isolation gave it a sense of peace, yet also shrouded it in mystery. Travelers from distant lands spoke of the valley's beauty in awe, calling it a paradise untouched by time. But beneath the serenity, the valley held secrets. Whispers of strange occurrences and hidden truths rippled through the community. No one dared to ask too many questions, as life seemed too perfect to disrupt. Little did they know, this hidden paradise was on the brink of becoming a forgotten memory. The valley's tranquility began to shift the night the sky turned red. The stars that once sparkled brightly now seemed to fade behind a veil of ominous clouds. Elders, known for interpreting the heavens, stood silently under the eerie glow. "A sign," one murmured. "But of what?" In the following days, the weather turned strange. Unseasonal rains flooded fields, and sudden winds tore through villages, toppling ancient trees. Birds, once abundant and lively, flew in erratic patterns before disappearing entirely. The river that had always been their lifeline turned murky, its waters carrying unfamiliar debris from upstream. People gathered in the main square, their faces etched with worry. Some claimed the gods were angry, others believed it was the arrival of a new era, but the elders weren't convinced. "Nature speaks," one said, "and we must listen before it's too late." As the community debated, a traveler arrived with troubling news. "The lands beyond the mountains are changing," he warned, "and no one knows why. The valley, once a beacon of stability, now seemed to teeter on the edge of the unknown." The whispers began quietly, spreading like the morning mist that blanketed the valley. "Did you hear the screams from the forest last night?" one villager asked another. Stories of unseen creatures lurking in the shadows began to surface. Farmers reported finding their crops trampled overnight, with no signs of animals or humans. Even the elders, who were pillars of wisdom and calm, seemed uneasy. Rituals were held in the main square, offerings placed at the ancient stone altar in hopes of appeasing whatever force seemed to be unsettling their lives. The once bustling market fell eerily quiet as people stayed closer to their homes, speaking in hushed tones. Rumors of a curse spread rapidly. Some said the valley had angered the spirits that guarded it. Others believed a powerful force was watching them, waiting for the perfect moment to strike. Children stopped playing near the rivers, and even the bravest hunters avoided venturing too deep into the forest. As the whispers grew louder, one thing became clear. Fear was taking root in the hearts of the people, and fear, they knew, was a force as destructive as any storm. One day, a young shepherd stumbled upon a forgotten path. Overgrown with vines and hidden behind a wall of thick brambles, it looked as though it hadn't been touched for centuries. The path seemed to lead up the mountain, toward an area forbidden by valley tradition. Curiosity gnawed at him. Taking a deep breath, he ventured a few steps forward, the air growing colder with each step. Strange markings appeared on the rocks along the way, symbols unlike anything he'd ever seen. Some were weathered, almost unreadable, while others glowed faintly under the canopy of trees. When he returned to the village and shared his story, the reaction was mixed. The elders dismissed it as childish imagination, while others whispered that the path might hold answers to their recent troubles. The markings, they speculated, could belong to an ancient people who once lived in the valley. Despite the warnings, small groups began to gather near the path, their eyes filled with wonder and dread. Was this the key to understanding the valley's mysteries, or was it a door better left unopened? Word of the path spread quickly, and the elders had no choice but to acknowledge it. "This valley is older than we know," one elder admitted. "What lies beyond that path may hold stories of the people who came before us. With a sense of urgency, a team of volunteers was formed to explore the path. Armed with torches and tools, they climbed toward the unknown. What they found shocked them. Remnants of a once thriving community. Stone walls covered in moss, broken pottery scattered across the ground, and carvings that seemed to tell a story of a civilization long gone. The carvings showed scenes of celebration, but also of suffering. One image depicted a group of people standing under a dark sky, hands raised in desperation. Another showed what looked like a great flood washing away entire villages. When the team returned, they brought back more questions than answers. Who were these people? What had happened to them? And why had their story been buried for so long? As the discoveries on the path fueled curiosity, tensions in the valley began to rise. Some believed the ancient ruins were a warning, a message left by those who had perished to protect the valley's current inhabitants. Others argued that uncovering the past was their duty, that only by learning the truth could they hope to survive whatever lay ahead. Debates turned into arguments. Families once united were now divided over whether to continue exploring or to leave the ruins undisturbed. The elders, once respected voices of reason, found themselves at odds with the younger generation, who were determined to uncover the valley's secrets. Meanwhile, strange occurrences continued. The river's flow became erratic, sometimes raging violently, and other times nearly drying up. Crops began to fail, and animals grew restless. It seemed as though the valley itself was reacting to their actions. Was the valley punishing them for disturbing its secrets, or was it trying to reveal something they desperately needed to understand? One night, the valley's uneasy calm was shattered by a deafening roar. People awoke to find the sky illuminated by strange lights, as if the heavens themselves were tearing apart. The air was thick with the scent of smoke, and distant echoes of crashing rocks sent shivers down their spines. When dawn broke, the damage was clear. A massive landslide had torn through the mountains, blocking a section of the river and sending a wave of destruction through nearby villages. People rushed to help, but the losses were devastating. Homes destroyed, fields flooded, and loved ones lost. The event was a turning point. Even the most skeptical among them couldn't deny that the valley was changing. But why? Some saw the disaster as a final warning, while others believed it was only the beginning. For the first time, the people realized that their survival might depend on solving the valley's mysteries. The ruins, the path, the strange occurrences, everything seemed connected. But were they ready to face what they might find? In the aftermath of the landslide, villagers began noticing something strange near the blocked section of the river. Among the debris, fragments of stone carvings and pottery emerged, hinting at an ancient settlement that had been hidden beneath the surface for centuries. Archaeologists from neighboring regions were called in to investigate. As they unearthed more artifacts, a clearer picture began to form, a picture of a thriving civilization that predated the current valley inhabitants. The symbols on the carvings matched those found on the forgotten path, suggesting a connection between the ruins and the strange occurrences. But not all discoveries brought answers. Some carvings depicted ominous figures surrounded by chaos, storms, floods, and fire. Were these warnings from the past or mere stories of legend? The artifacts spoke of both progress and despair, leaving the villagers torn between fascination and fear. The question lingered: was this hidden civilization trying to communicate with them, or were they uncovering a curse best left buried? Among the artifacts discovered was a tablet etched with symbols unlike any seen before. Scholars worked tirelessly to decode it, believing it held the key to understanding the valley's history. Slowly, the symbols began to reveal a tale of a civilization that had once flourished in harmony with nature, but had been consumed by greed and discord. The tablet spoke of leaders who ignored warnings, exploiting the valley's resources until the land itself retaliated. Rivers dried up, storms raged, and the earth trembled beneath their feet. Finally, a catastrophic event buried the civilization, erasing it from memory. Until now. As the story spread, some villagers grew fearful, seeing parallels between the ancient civilization and their own lives. Could history be repeating itself? Was their valley destined to meet the same fate? Despite the growing unease, others argued that uncovering the past was their only chance to change the future. But the more they learned, the more the mystery deepened, as though the valley itself was guarding its secrets. Superstition began to grip the valley. Stories of a curse spread quickly, fueled by the unearthed artifacts and the strange events that followed each discovery. Crops withered overnight, animals disappeared, and shadows seemed to move in the forest when no one was there. The elders warned against continuing the excavation, fearing they were disturbing forces that should remain undisturbed. "The valley remembers," one elder said gravely, "and it does not forgive." But the younger generation refused to believe in curses. They saw the strange occurrences as coincidences or natural events. To them, the discoveries were a gift, a chance to uncover the truth about their ancestors. Yet, even the most skeptical began to doubt their beliefs when the river turned red one evening, staining the water like blood. The event left the villagers shaken, as if the valley itself was warning them to stop. But for many it was too late to turn back. The tension in the valley reached a breaking point when the weather turned violent. Unseasonal storms battered the region, uprooting trees and flooding entire villages. The winds howled like spirits, and the once sturdy homes of the villagers crumbled under the relentless onslaught. People began abandoning their homes, seeking refuge in higher ground. Yet even as they fled, they couldn't escape the feeling that something or someone was watching them. Whispers of unseen figures in the storm circulated among the survivors, adding to the growing sense of dread. The elders declared the storms a punishment for disturbing the valley's balance. "We have angered the land," they said, "and it will not rest until we make amends." But how could they appease a force they didn't understand? As the storms raged on, the valley's future hung in the balance. Would the people find a way to restore harmony, or were they witnessing the beginning of the end? Amidst the chaos, a young villager named Lena stepped forward. Known for her wisdom and courage, she rallied the people with a message of hope. "The valley is speaking to us," she said. "It's time we listened." Lena proposed a plan to explore the ruins fully, believing they held the answers to saving the valley. Her determination inspired others, and soon a small group of villagers joined her in the effort. Together they braved the storms and delved deeper into the ruins, searching for clues to the valley's history and its connection to the disasters. What they found astounded them. An ancient chamber hidden beneath the largest ruin, filled with carvings and artifacts that told the story of the valley's past. The chamber seemed to hold a powerful energy, as if it were the heart of the valley itself. But as they explored further, they realized the chamber wasn't just a place of knowledge. It was a warning. The chamber was unlike anything they had seen before. Its walls were covered in intricate carvings, depicting a timeline of the valley's history. At the center stood an altar, surrounded by glowing symbols that pulsed faintly in the dim light. One carving caught Lena's attention. It showed a group of people standing before a great storm, their hands raised as if in prayer. Above them the symbols glowed, radiating light. "It's a ritual," Lena said, "a way to communicate with the valley." But not everyone agreed. Some feared the ritual could unleash even greater destruction. "We don't know what we're dealing with," one villager warned. "This could be dangerous." Despite the risks, Lena was determined. "We have no choice," she said. "If we don't try, the valley will be lost forever." The group prepared to perform the ritual, knowing it could be their last chance to save their home, or their final mistake. The night of the ritual was tense. The villagers gathered around the chamber, their faces a mixture of hope and fear. Lena stood at the altar, her voice steady as she recited the words etched into the carvings. As the symbols began to glow brighter, the ground trembled, and a low hum filled the air. The energy in the chamber grew intense, as if the valley itself was awakening. Some villagers fled in panic, while others clung to each other, bracing for what might come. When the ritual ended, the chamber fell silent. For a moment it seemed as though nothing had happened, but then the storm outside began to subside. the winds dying down and the rain easing into a gentle drizzle. Had the ritual worked, or was this just a brief reprieve before the valley unleashed its full wrath? The next morning, the valley was eerily quiet. The once raging storm had vanished, replaced by clear skies and a gentle breeze. Villagers stepped out of their makeshift shelters, marveling at the sudden calm. For the first time in weeks, they felt a glimmer of hope. But beneath the surface, unease lingered. The glowing symbols in the chamber had dimmed but not disappeared. Lena and her group couldn't shake the feeling that their ritual had only postponed something far greater. "We've bought time," Lena said, "but the valley's fate is still uncertain." As the villagers began rebuilding, strange phenomena continued to occur. The river, once stained red, returned to its normal state, but carried an unusual shimmer. The earth felt warm to the touch in certain places, and animals that had fled began to return in droves, behaving oddly tame. Was the valley trying to communicate its gratitude, or its final warning? Among the ruins, the villagers discovered something extraordinary. Beneath the altar in the chamber, a hidden compartment contained a glowing crystal, surrounded by ancient artifacts. The crystal radiated a soothing warmth, its light pulsating rhythmically like a heartbeat. The elders believed the crystal was a gift from the valley, a token of its power and the key to understanding its mysteries. "This is the valley's soul," one elder whispered. "'Tis chosen to reveal itself to us." The discovery brought a renewed sense of purpose to the villagers. They believed the crystal could help restore balance to their land and began studying it with great care. Lena, however, remained cautious. "A gift can also be a test," she warned. As they worked to uncover the crystal's secrets, its light grew stronger, illuminating not just the chamber, but the hopes of the entire valley. Despite the crystal's calming presence, unease began to spread. Some villagers feared that tampering with such a powerful artifact could provoke the valley's wrath once more. The elders urged caution, but a few ambitious individuals saw the crystal as a means to gain wealth and power. One night, a group of villagers attempted to remove the crystal from the chamber. The moment it was lifted, the ground shook violently, and a deafening roar echoed through the valley. The skies darkened, and an ominous wind swept through the ruins. The group dropped the crystal in terror, but the damage was done. The valley's fragile balance had been disrupted once again. Lena's worst fears had come true. "We've been warned," she said, her voice trembling. "This is no ordinary artifact. It's alive. And it's angry." The valley unleashed its full power. The earth cracked open, swallowing parts of the ruins. Rivers overflowed, carving new paths through the land. The once calm skies filled with storm clouds, and a chilling wind howled through the trees. Villagers fled to higher ground, but there was no escaping the valley's fury. "It's punishing us," an elder cried. "We've failed to respect its will." Lena rallied the villagers, urging them to return the crystal to its rightful place and attempt another ritual. "The valley isn't punishing us," she said. "It's trying to protect itself. We must show that we understand." With time running out, the villagers gathered at the chamber, desperate to make amends. As the storm raged, Lena and her group carried the crystal back to the chamber. The glowing symbols flared to life as they placed it on the altar. With trembling hands, Lena recited the ritual once more, her voice rising above the thunder. The ground shook violently, and the chamber began to collapse. Villagers outside watched in terror as the ruins crumbled, swallowing Lena and her group. But just as the storm seemed ready to consume the valley, everything stopped. The skies cleared, the winds calmed, and the earth grew still. The valley was silent once more, as though it had finally been appeased. In the days that followed, the villagers rebuilt their homes and lives, humbled by the valley's power. The ruins were left untouched, a sacred reminder of the past. The crystal was never seen again, but its light lived on in the hearts of those who had witnessed its power. Lena's sacrifice became a legend, a story passed down through generations. The valley, once a place of fear and mystery, became a symbol of resilience and respect for nature's power. Though the valley's secrets were never fully uncovered, its lesson was clear: harmony with the land is the key to survival. As the villagers thrived once more, they vowed never to forget the mystery of the valley that had disappeared without a trace, and the courage of those who saved it. Thank you for joining us on this incredible journey into the mystery of the valley that disappeared without a trace. Stories like these remind us of the fragility of our connection to nature and the resilience of those who came before us. What do you think about the valley's fate? Could there be other places like this, holding secrets we've yet to uncover? Share your thoughts in the comments. We'd love to hear your perspective. If you enjoyed this story, please don't forget to like, subscribe, and turn on the notifications to stay connected with Whispered Eras. Together, let's continue exploring the untold stories, forgotten civilizations, and mysteries that shape our past and inspire our future. Your curiosity fuels our passion. See you in the next story.